Hi from Zoans. Today we are going to talk about compressor and why you should use it and what is a compressor. Okay, so a compressor is a tool that allow me to control a dynamic of a sound. So what is dynamic? For example, think about an orchestra, okay, symphonic orchestra, and we have quieter sound, so quieter instrument and louder instrument. So we have contrast, okay. So the dynamic of an orchestra, of a symphonic orchestra, is wide and wide. We have a wide range of colors in dynamic. A compressor allow me to maybe in some cases reduce when requires or increase the dynamic of a sound. For example, we have this drum loop. If I turn down threshold and maybe set this type of curve, so in this way the sound is compressed. And all these lines we are going to explain more later. Essentially, compressor decrease to louder sound or increase to quieter sound. Let me explain with this example. Imagine we have someone when the volume is too louder, he turns down the volume, and then when the volume is more normal, then re-increase the volume. And basically, this is what compressor does. It's like a fast envelope automation. Okay, what is envelope? For example, citrus, like others scenes, have this control. When we are going to use envelopes, so we have, for example, we want this motor attack, and then here we go. We have attack down. The sound is sustained, and then when I release the key, the sound continue but slowly the volume go down. So this is the release. Short release, long release, attack. Okay, this is an example of envelope. The compressor works in similar way, and the envelope of a compressor is like the reaction time of this man or someone that every time the volume is too loud. Okay, the volume is too loud. I'm going to reduce the volume, and this is the attack. Okay, so it's correspond to attack time. Then I'm keeping the volume low, and this is sustained. Now the sound is normal, so it's not too loud. I can re-increase the gain. I can increase the volume. So this is the release knob, correspond to the release knob. So all these things are as like a reaction time of this someone that every time very fast increase or decrease the volume. Also with compressor we can increase the dynamic of a sound. For example, we have this drum loop. If I increase, maybe decreasing the gain, because I'm using also limiting to prevent the sound being distorted. So I'm going to reduce the gain and compress in other way. Okay, in this way, the dynamic of the sound is increasing, starting from this point. Okay, this is a type of compression. Obviously, we can compress in a more complex and sophisticated mode. So for example, with Maximus. With Maximus, we can personalize our curve. So the sound is like this. Okay, we can make some crazy things also like this. And we can shape the sound. Okay, anyway, attack and release and sustain. If you set to low and compress the sound, you obtain. Okay, let's increase the gain. Maybe you obtain distortion. So in order to prevent distortion, you have to set a proper amount of attack, release, and sustain. And also we have look ahead delay. So what is look ahead? Is like this someone that controls anytime the volume. When it's so loud, we reduce it and keep it, and then when the volume is more quiet, then we increase the gain every time. And look at is like this man is going to the future and see what is going to happen. So anticipate. Obviously, when you use look at, the sound is delayed. So we have, for example, a delay of 4 milliseconds, okay, of latency. So in this way, it's like the compressor goes to the future and see what is going to happen and prevent the action. Okay. So in the master track, look at is linked to the attack time. Okay. But let's see. Look at, for example, in the mid band. Let's compress it. Then, okay, this. So the violet is the input sound, and the green is the output sound. And the output sound is delayed. So the curve starts before in this way. So reducing look ahead and increase it look ahead. Okay, in this way, so the sound is delayed and the curve begins earlier. Okay, and we have a multiband compressor. So it's like you have, for example, Bob that controls, imagine a old tall man that controls the best frequencies. So we have to set slow reaction, because to prevent the sound is being distorted, because the low frequencies are more long, etc., etc. Okay, so we have for example Joshua. That's the mid frequency, and high frequencies we have Heidi. Okay, so it's really, imagine a little young girl, so it's really fast, and you can set the envelope with less release or less sustain, because and the sound is not being distorted because the frequencies are too high. An important thing I have to say is, when you use multiband compressor, use linear phase filter, because in this way we don't have any phase shift. Okay, I can make, for example, a test. So we have the sound from Citrus, a sawtooth. Maybe it's too loud. And let's see with wave candy the wave. So we have the G. Okay, this is the wave. The original wave is this. So as you can notice, when I activate Maximus, the shape of the wave changes. This is the shape. It's different, okay? Because we are not using linear phase filters. So use linear phase filters. In this way, the original, the phase of the wave are maintained. What are harmonics phase? So, for example, we have citrus with the sawtooth, okay, and render it. We can see all these frequencies. If I change the phase, so the phase is, for example, we have a normal phase to 0. When I move the phase of this sine wave, the sound is the same, but the wave starts from 0 point or from below, okay. When we have different harmonic sounds, so these are all the harmonics that compose the sawtooth. If you put all these frequencies together, we obtain this kind of wave. If I change the phase of harmonics, the sound changes. Okay, the harmonics are the same in volume one to each other, but the phases relationship when you use multiband compressor, use for my opinion, use always linear phase filter. Linear phase cues are another things we are going to explain more in detail in other videos because there are many misconceptions about linear phase cue. Many says you have to use linear phase cues all the time. It's not real, okay. In most cases you don't use linear phase cues because it causes such problems, etc, etc. So we are going to explain this kind of thing in future videos. Obviously, when you split, when you process the sound and compress, okay, compress the low, the mid, and high frequencies independently, you can obtain a better sound because you can set different curves for the bass, different reaction times, so different envelope, attack, release, and sustain for the bass. Maybe for the low, you have a more, you can have more release or sustain or attack, and less in the middle and less in the higher frequencies. Then in the low frequencies, maybe you want to reduce the stereo image because acoustically we cannot distinguish in nature. Is more hard to distinguish where a bass sound comes from because bass frequencies goes to obstacles, goes to the walls, goes through our head. So, for example, if I have a bass sound over there to my coming from my left, but in many cases, if the sound is too low, I cannot recognize where it comes from because the sound from the right here and the left here is the same. Okay, so higher frequencies I can recognize because they don't pass through my head. So, for example, if you have the best sound, you can hear from your left ear. The sound is coming from the left. You can hear from your left ear. You can hear from your right ear, but the sound you hear from the right ear is the sound, obviously, the ambient sound, the reflection sound, but the sound goes through your head and reach your right ear in this way from the inside of your head. Okay, so it's more hard to recognize where the sound came from. And in this way, to simplify and to make more effective a mastering process, compressor, etc., is useful to reduce this kind of differences between right and left channel. So in this way, the mastering process begin more easy, because we don't have the right channel and the left channel that are different. So if I compress the one that is louder, also the choir is compressed the same way, so it's not a good thing, a very good thing. Many people say to increase the higher frequencies stereo image, but I don't recommend to do so much. We have seen in the previous video about stereo imaging and how this knob, if is not used properly, can destroy your sound because you lost trance. And so, for example, for a drum, you lost all the heat, result more smoother, okay, smoother attack. If you have any question, let me know. Please give me a comment below. Share with your friend if you find helpful to you this video. And I think for today that's all. And we'll see you soon. Bye.